The biggest LLC tax mistake I made wasn't with the IRS. When I formed my LLC, I learned that a single member LLC was a disregarded entity, which just means that your business taxes go onto your personal tax return on a Schedule C. And I knew all about those because before I had my LLC, I had been using them to file my taxes. This was good news to me because it made it easier and I had experience. So I put all the income on my Schedule C and filed it with the IRS and with my state. That's where I went wrong. I understood what a disregarded entity was. What I misunderstood was how that applied to my LLC in California. Just because my LLC was treated as a disregarded entity by the IRS didn't mean that there weren't filing requirements in California. There were separate filings required, even though the income was already flowing through to my personal return. I didn't find out until I finally went to dissolve my LLC. I logged into BizFile, searched for my business, and found that it was suspended by the FTB, the Franchise Tax Board. It took me 3 tries to get someone on the phone. The line was always busy, and it was basically a roll of the dice whether I would be put on hold or told to call back on a completely different day. When I finally did get through, the representative was able to tell me which tax years I needed to file. It was essentially all of them because I didn't know about the requirement. My LLC was about 5 years old by then. I had been paying the annual franchise tax every year while I was running my business. I had stopped paying it during the 2 years after my health got worse because I had stopped running the business. And sadly, I've spoken to plenty of people with LLCs who have no idea that there is an annual franchise tax or yearly filings with the FTB or statements of information that go to the Secretary of State. Looking back, this is one of the biggest mistakes I've made. When people tell you to go out and get an LLC, they usually talk about the liability protection. They rarely talk about all of these extra requirements. Your state may have requirements that are separate from your personal tax return. Georgia requires an annual registration. New York has a publication requirement. Michigan requires an annual statement. Illinois requires an annual report. They're all different, which is why you need to know what your own state requires. If you have an LLC, don't assume filing your personal taxes means you've taken care of everything. Take a few minutes to determine exactly what your state requires from your LLC. I wish I had. It would have saved me a lot of money and even more headaches. I'd love to know, is this new information? Did you know your state had all of these requirements or that it doesn't? If you're in California, did you know about the annual fee? Let me know. Let's get this conversation started.